Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a very touchy subject, and that is skin issues, specifically acne, which is something that I have struggled with for a very long time. I started struggling with acne since high school, and it sort of kind of faded away after from 18 to 20, I would say 22, 23 years old. Still had some acne, but it wasn't as bad, and then just now in my late 20s, it just for some reason hit me really hard. And it did a lot of damage on my skin. So I'm going to be talking about what were the issues that I personally was experiencing with acne and what did I do to treat those problems. So going back to high school, I basically had regular breakouts to begin with, just random pimples, especially hormonal ones during that time of the month. And then all of a sudden it changed. I began getting these little tiny bumps all across my forehead. I mean, just everywhere on my forehead and onto my cheeks. They weren't like pimples. They weren't the kinds of breakouts that you could extract. They were deep down into the skin. They were like clogged pores, and they were skin tone, and I couldn't really do anything to get rid of them. I didn't know what it was until later on I realized it was seborrheic dermatitis. So back then, what I did to treat that kind of acne was I went to my primary care physician. This is not a dermatologist, this was not a skin doctor who specifically looked at those issues. It was just my regular doctor. And he took a look at my skin and he prescribed me a cream, which was just a very high concentration of benzoyl peroxide, and it was a topical cream. I would just put it on the surface of my skin. And I used that, and what that caused my skin to do was basically push everything out, so I broke out even more, which from my understanding a lot of medications do that initially, sort of like a purging period. So that's basically what that cream did for me, but it also dried my skin so bad. My skin got so dry it literally looked like it was cracking, especially on my forehead. It was peeling, it felt really tight, it was really irritated. That cream did push all of those little bumps out, and what I began using right after was Proactive to sort of keep it from reoccurring. And it did work for some time. I still would get large cystic breakouts here and there on my face. I didn't really know why those were, surfacing to my skin, but I would get those really huge cystic breakouts even while using Proactive. And I didn't really understand why my skin was continuing to do that. Even looking at the history of my family, my siblings did not struggle with acne issues, not the way that I was struggling with it. So we were all eating the same kinds of foods. We were all doing the same kinds of things. So I didn't know why my skin in particular was reacting the way that it was. Anyway, fast forward, I kind of didn't really notice my acne too much. It wasn't really something that was, really bothering me, even though it was kind of, and I think the reason for that was because it wasn't so severe, like it wasn't covering my entire face. It was kind of like one here and there, and I was so busy at the time that I didn't really notice that those breakouts were really there, or at least it didn't bother me so much. Because again, it wasn't like completely covering my skin. And then I began very obsessed with makeup, and so when I started watching more YouTube videos and I started following people on Instagram, I started comparing my skin with their skin and started realizing that my skin was pretty bad in my opinion, based to what it could be, and comparing it to my siblings. I mean, none of them had really textured skin like I did. And so when I started looking at those pictures, I really started paying attention to my skin, and that's when I started noticing that I did have a lot of texture on my skin. Especially within the last 2 years, it started getting pretty bad, and I'll show you some current photos of what my skin looked like. So those little bumps that I used to have in high school, they came back, and this was after I stopped using the Proactive. And I wasn't really using anything specifically for acne, and it just started reappearing, and it started becoming really huge cystic breakouts all over again in my adult years, which I thought, I paid my dues while I was in high school. I shouldn't be struggling with these kinds of issues now. I'm an adult. but it actually hit me worse as an adult than it did when I was in high school or a teenager. So it got to a point where I went back to Proactive, and my skin was no longer responding to that. I tried Clinique. My skin did not like that. I tried even taking birth control, which I really did not want to have to do, but I tried it because you know, I was told that maybe if it's a hormonal imbalance, that's probably what is causing my acne. So I tried taking birth control, and birth control, I was really sensitive to it, and I didn't notice that it was doing anything to help my skin. So I stopped using it. Basically, it didn't work. I tried so many things, benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid. I tried different things. I even tried taking some antibiotics, and nothing really seemed to clear my skin. It would help a little bit. It would sort of suppress it, but it didn't really clear my skin, and as soon as I stopped using it, it would come back. So I started doing a little bit more research. After watching That Girl Shay XO, and I started seeing that my skin was getting pretty bad, I got desperate. And so after watching That Girl Shay XO talk about this product, I thought maybe I should give it a try. And I'm talking about Curology. So I started using Curology about 6 months ago. I've gone through two bottles, and at this point I don't really feel like I need to continue using it. But I'll go ahead and talk to you about what Curology is. So what it is, it's like a subscription program, but it's a dermatologist that you can actually communicate with online. And what you do is you sign up through their website, and one of the first things that you will do is take pictures of your skin and how your skin currently is. And you'll upload them so that the dermatologist can take a look at it. Once the dermatologist takes a look at your skin, then they're going to go ahead and create your own prescription. And that's what this little bottle is. In my prescription, there is azelaic acid, clindamycin, and niacinamide. Niacinamide is a form of vitamin B3. It's supposed to help your cell turnover on your skin. So the idea is that some of the reasons why blockages happen into your pores is because you have cells that are dying and your skin's not getting rid of those cells and replacing them with new cells fast enough. So niacinamide is supposed to help along with that process. There is clindamycin, which is an antibiotic. So it's basically going to kill the bacteria on the surface of your skin. And azelaic acid is also another ingredient used to treat acne. So those are the 3 active ingredients that were put into my specific prescription. There are other options once you start talking with a dermatologist to a combination of treatments that you could undergo in order to treat your acne. So, you know, like if it's going to be an antibiotic, there's zinc therapy soap as well that they recommend. And I had a really good experience with the company. They were very quick to respond to my questions. The prescription got to me fairly quickly. It wasn't too expensive in my opinion. It's a $20 per month subscription service. Anytime you have questions, you can ask and they will respond. If you feel like your skin's not responding or your skin has been changing, you can upload new pictures and they take a look at those. And so I have found that the team at Curology has been very helpful, and I did find that the prescription that I got also did help. It was very easy to use, and it did work. So how do you use this? Essentially what you will do is at nighttime, I only use this once a day, and so what I did was I would wash my face like I did with regular soap and water. I'll wait maybe like 5 minutes and then I'll go ahead and apply it. Immediately the day after I tried Curology, I noticed a difference in my skin, good and bad. So again, with most products, when you begin using it, a lot of companies claim that there's going to be a purging period. So immediately the day after I used this, I started noticing that some of the bumps had already started getting smaller, but it also created, on one side of my face, I remember looking in the mirror and I had like a huge welt on the side of my face. It was like, it was really huge and it was really deep underneath my skin. I can't even tell you how large it was. I mean, it was probably the size of one huge cystic breakout. It wasn't really red. It wasn't very red, but the bump was pretty big. I had never seen anything like that on my skin. I was just confused why my skin had done that. And then I thought, well, maybe it's a purging period, and I did notice that it was helping on certain areas of my skin. So I continued to use it, and within the next day, I did notice that it had already started lowering. It was already starting to heal and starting to go away. So although it surfaced for that one day and it seemed pretty severe, by the following day it had already started going away. And then also the little bumps around my skin also started kind of shrinking down. I used Curology for about 3 months, and I did notice that it had cleared most of my skin. The bumps on my forehead had completely gone away. I still had some texture here in my cheeks, and that texture was pretty much starting to clear up. And then I don't know what happened about 3 months after using this, that my skin sort of looked like it was starting to regress. And those little bumps that I still had hanging around on my cheeks, they were a lot less, but the ones that were there were starting to become really huge cystic breakouts, bigger than I've ever had before. They were pretty large, and they weren't the ones that you could pop. You know, you really shouldn't do that with your skin anyways, because it's going to scar, but cystic acne is going to scar your skin irregardless. They were like so deep under the skin. They were really red. It was really irritated. It looked really bad. And so I had to go back and start doing my research all over again, because I thought, you know, well, what is in this product that is causing my skin to react that way? Initially, this did really work, but this wasn't working alone. So I came to the realization that the cause of my acne, I want to make this a point, that if you have tried everything topically, if you have tried different kinds of products on the top of your skin, if you have cleansed your skin, if you have done everything right and it's not working, then the problem is not external, it's internal. So that means that something that you're putting into your body is causing an adverse reaction, and it's showing up in the form of acne. Usually those are foods, specific foods that you're eating. And you kind of have to do a trial and error to see what foods your body is reacting negatively to. And there's information that talks about how dairy products, so cheese, milk, chocolate, or those kinds of foods can create or can cause acne. For every person, it's going to be different. I can eat fried foods, for example, and I don't notice that it creates a problem or there's an adverse reaction. After trial and error with so many foods, I have discovered that my trigger is sugar. So if I eat too many cakes, too many cookies, ice cream, anything with refined sugar in it, it shows up on my skin as acne. The more I eat, the worse it gets and the faster it spreads. There's a lot of information that indicates that, for example, with sugar, creates a boost in insulin, and insulin creates a reaction that makes your glands produce more oils. And so when you have those two things going on, you've got too much oil production, you got dead skin cells. It's a really good recipe for acne. So decreasing the amounts of foods that I was eating with sugars, I noticed a really huge difference. So I was using Curology to help it speed up the process of healing, but I also had to change my eating habits, and I discovered that eating a lot of sugar was one of the things that was or is my trigger for my skin. Every person is going to be different, so that's why I say trial and error. You have to kind of test out what kinds of foods you're eating, and don't be surprised. I mean, you might be a completely healthy person, and even healthy foods can be considered toxic to you. There are people who are really sensitive to broccoli, or they're really sensitive to kale, or they're sensitive to different kinds of foods, and so it doesn't exclude any food that's healthy. You still have to look at those foods, because to your body it might be something that's negatively reacting to it, that it's almost like an allergic reaction. So you sort of have to kind of trial and error test out different foods. Secondly, you need to drink more water. And again, that goes back to your body trying to get rid of toxins in your body, and one of the ways that your body does that is by peeing it out. And if you're not drinking enough water, you're not able to flush out all those toxins that are trying to get out through your pores of your skin, and that can cause your acne. So for that reason, I say that Curology did and didn't work. This did work in the sense that topically it was helping speed the process along, but this wasn't the only thing that I had to do to change my, or to get rid of my acne. I also had to look at what I was putting into my body. All in all, I did have a really good experience with this, and I do recommend this company. I'll make sure to link it down below. So I also want to share a little bit of my skincare currently. So now that I'm not eating so much sugar and I'm drinking a lot more water, I noticed that my skin has really improved, and I haven't felt, that scared me. And I haven't really needed to continue using this product. So now to just sort of keep up with my skin, I wanted to make sure that I was using products that had the similar ingredients in it on my day-to-day basis, but was gentle for my skin. So I began using CeraVe, and what I like about it is that it says it's non-comedogenic, which is important so that it doesn't clog your pores. It's non-irritating, it's not drying, and it's got ceramides, niacinamide, and hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is really good for your skin because it's going to help retain moisture and keep your skin hydrated. Niacinamide, again, was the same ingredient that was found into the Curology bottle that helps with cell turnover. And then to moisturize, I use the CeraVe moisturizing cream. This doesn't have any SPF, so I do have to use an additional kind of SPF product to get that protection during the day. But this is a moisturizer that I use in the morning and at night. And again, it's got ceramides and hyaluronic acid. And it's a really good cream. This feels thick at first when you apply it, but it blends really well into the skin, and it hydrates really nicely. It doesn't leave you feeling like thick and greasy or anything like that. It's a really good moisturizer, and I find that it sits really good under my makeup. So these two products is the only thing that I'm doing at night as far as skincare, and I've noticed that it's a good duo, and it's been good for my skin. It hasn't clogged any pores, it hasn't irritated my skin, it hasn't caused any more breakouts. And of course, I'm continuing to watch my sugar intake, which sucks because I like eating sweets, but I'd rather have better skin, and drinking more water. Those are my thoughts on the way that I treated my acne. Hopefully you found some of the information that I provided with you helpful, useful. It hopefully helps you on your acne journey. If you have any questions, or if I wasn't clear about something, leave it down below and I'll try to get to you. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found the information useful. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.